On July 4th, we lost Bobby Jenks to his battle to some stomach cancer. We dedicate this episode to our closer, Bobby Jenks. White Sox post-game show presented to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Download their app and use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Welcome into Studio B of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I am Sean Anderson. My producer, Joey Christopoulos.
Happy 4th of July weekend, Sean.
Thank you so much. I cannot take you seriously with that microphone. We're going to have a lot of fun with that tomorrow. Today was not that day. As we
teaser.
The cold open mention, this episode is dedicated to Bobby Jenks. We'll be talking about Bobby throughout this entire episode. We were supposed to be joined by Beznik Zekiri, and I sent him the link, and I have no idea why he's late. But anyways, I saw him respond even on Twitter. So he will be joining us over from Sox on Tap. We'll be talking about to Beznik, likely about his thoughts on Bobby Jenks, about the series that just happened in Colorado. Sox lose 6-4, are unable to sweep the Rockies. We'll talk about Colson Montgomery's debut series. We'll talk about Shane Smith being an all-star for the Chicago White Sox in 2025. I believe I have some Mike Vassell talk as well, but it will mainly be Jenks, Rockies, and Colson. If you have any thoughts, let us know in the comments. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button as well. TR said, I wish our all-star was pitching today. Maybe we wouldn't have blown the lead. Oh, wait. First of all, Smith pitched fine. You mentioned during that inning if they should pull him or not. I first think that giving him the fifth earned run was wrong. I don't think that should have been his run. The ball was an infield hit to Colson, and it's fielder's choice. Moniak runs home. Colson throws home, gets Moniak out. That was the runner that Altavilla
because of the fielder's choice, it created another inherited runner. I don't understand that.
Altavilla faced that guy that ended up at first. So I don't understand why that ends up being when it was a home run by Toglia to center field to make it 6-4. Like, I don't understand why that first runner, the runner that Altavilla pitched to, is scored towards Shane. So first, I don't even know if he should have 5 earned runs. Second of all, like, people bashing Shane Smith, I don't understand it. We'll talk about it in a second. BZ hasn't joined, so I feel like I should just kind of go. I'm hot, so let's jump into it. If you want to become a diehard, you can call me a nerd in our diehard Discord, and you can debate with me on whether Shane Smith should be the all-star or not. Husky Bardo, who has been a CHGO diehard since 2022, we appreciate him for that, has been debating with me on whether it should be Shane Smith as the all-star. I said, who do you want? And Husky Bardo said, the Mike Vassell disrespect is hilarious. Husky, I will do my best to truly disrespect him and try to make it hilarious. Husky said, due to started and has been thrown in the pen, Smith has been horrible for a month. First of all, we don't need to be rude to Mike Vassell. So I will walk that back.
He is Batman.
Bit.
So do you know who you're coming at?
He is Batman.
When you go after Mike Vassell?
He will likely attack me in my sleep. And Vassell has been used in every single situation. He has started games for the White Sox. He's been thrown in the middle of games for the White Sox. I believe he has 2 saves for the White Sox as well. He has done it all for the team. So that is fair on that half of Husky Bardo. But to give him a break from the nerd stats for once, Shane Smith has started 17 games, has a sub-4 ERA, is the best pitcher for the Chicago White Sox, the worst team in the American League. They are going to pick the best story. The best story is the second Rule 5 pick to ever become an all-star in the same season. A guy that never pitched at AAA. Vassell, 200 innings at AAA. This is Shane Smith's first time ever against next level competition. And while the results haven't been there, I've honestly been kind of impressed with his last 2 starts. I understand that 5 earned runs are terrible and you should be laughed at because it's against the Rockies. Boo-hoo. Yeah, it's not a tough place to pitch, whether it is the Rockies lineup or not. But I thought we were going to see a true degradation of his stuff, and his stuff's been fine. He's still throwing 94 out there. He threw a terrible, probably one of the worst curveballs he's thrown to Moniak. That was the single that he gave up in the 0-1 count. And I'm just been surprised that his curveball's even been this good. Like when he first debuted, it was all about that changeup. And then he became a fastball slider pitcher. And then it became fastball curveball. Like he has shown 4 pitches in his first 17 games where I think that next year when he comes back, he'll be able to have a similar first half, maybe even better. So he's going to have an all-star season. And then the next year, I think he'll be able to even be better next year. Vassell, I don't want to talk about nerd stats like FIP, but that's why he's not liked, is because he's got like a 6 K per 9 compared to a 4 walk per 9. Like, he's been getting by the skin of his teeth. His ERA shouldn't be sub 3. It's great that it is, and he's been doing everything for the Sox, but Shane Smith has a true story and a true kind of campaign / actual reason to be there. Mike Vassell wasn't even their Rule 5 pick. Like, the White Sox had to choose between Vassell or Shane Smith. The White Sox themselves, I think, would choose Shane Smith. Let's be joined by our guest because I don't need to be screaming. That's one of the things that they don't like about the podcast, that some people don't like about the podcast, is I yell. So if you're one of those people that don't like me yelling, I apologize. Let's head out to our pal BZ from Sox on Tap. You can follow the editor of Sox on Tap over at Bez Behind the Pen. Beznik, Zekiri, what is up?
Hey, Sean, how are you today?
I'm all right. Probably unnecessarily heated. How do you feel about Shane Smith being an all-star? I'm excited for him.
I think he's the right selection. I think based on the body of work this year, this is the guy you've got to go with from the Chicago White Sox. You had a second there where Vargas could have been the guy, but he got off to a slow start and he's kind of tapered off lately. Some people say Talkman. Yeah, but he's been hurt and he's missed a bunch of time. The only guy to me that could challenge this is Adrian Hauser. I mean, he's at a 2.4 B-WAR already, but it's only 8 starts. Okay. If he had 11 starts, 12 starts, then I would say, okay, I think Hauser got snubbed here. But he's only at 8 starts. That is the main challenger, not to me, not Vassell. So I would have, you could have potentially gone with Hauser there if he had a little more of a track record.
I agree with you that I think Hauser is probably the true competition for Smith if you were going to pick one. The one thing that Hauser kind of suffers from with Vassell as well, Smith and Hauser have similar F-WARs because of Hauser's gap between his ERA and FIP. When you go to a minimum of 50 innings pitched, Shota Imanaga is the leader in ERA minus FIP. So that pretty much means pretty much luckiest is the word I'll use. Like Shota Imanaga has been the luckiest pitcher in Major League Baseball. Vassell second. 7th is Adrian Hauser. Shane Smith is 92nd, which puts him at a negative 0.01. So pretty much his ERA is his FIP. What you see is what you get from Shane Smith. There hasn't really been a luckiness or unluckiness. Right. He's just kind of gone through it as a rookie. I've just been, again, impressed that he never pitched at AAA. Vassell had like 200 innings at AAA. And Sam Roberts says, not Shane bashing, but he looks like he needs an all-star break, not an all-star game. I think in Atlanta, if you do give him days off before the all-star game and you give him 1 inning to pitch, he might go out and throw 97.
Right.
Like, it's going to be a much more fun to watch Shane Smith in an all-star game than Mike Vassell's loopy but effective stuff.
Sure. And up until like the last 3 starts for Shane, those expected numbers versus his actual numbers, there was a big gap there, and now he's regressed. So that's kind of why that's kind of come back down to earth. I think he's fine. I don't think people need to worry about him. He's deserving. So let's take that as a win and just kind of move on to the next thing. I don't know if the White Sox are going to move him to the pen or anything like that. It sounds like they don't want to, from some of the quotes that I've heard from Will Venable and whatnot. I'm not sure. I'm just speculating, but hopefully they figure out how to get him through this dead arm period.
Yeah, it sounds like that. I mean, I don't even know if it's a dead arm period. You look at what his average was today, 95.8 on the four-seam fastball velocity, 95.3 yearly average. We've seen more changeup usage. Like, I wonder if he is like tired. I wonder if it's just more like body fatigue. Like, I mean, maybe dead arm because it's just never been used this much. 94 innings pitched is the career high. He's, I think now after today at 89 innings pitched. Or in that area, and you look at the actual effectiveness, 21% called strike plus whiff percentage, major league average is 30%, only 5 swing and misses, and this is against the Rockies. So again, the stuff wasn't that effective, but I wonder too, just with that guy, how Coors may affect that. Obviously Coors has an effect on breaking ball pitches and fastballs, so I do wonder if that also had an effect on just the lack of effectiveness for Shane today. Anyways, don't need to spend too much on Shane Smith. The guy that should have been the All-Star is Luis Robert Jr. You talked about kind of his lackadaisical nature right now at this point. I'm pretty done with him. Some people are like, you don't want to just give up a guy like this for a lottery ticket, but they're not picking up the team option. I don't think they're going to give him a qualifying offer for $20 million. Let's just get rid of him at the trade deadline. Do you feel similarly? What should they do with Luis Robert Jr.?
I completely agree. I think it's time to just move on. I think it's best for all parties involved. Like you said, you're not picking up that $20 million option. Not one team in baseball, I don't care what their payroll is picking up a $20 million option for a guy who's been worse than Michael A. Taylor. Okay? Look at the numbers line by line. Michael A. Taylor has had a better season than Luis Robert Jr., if you can believe that. I am going into the season, I said, Taylor's a great pickup because if they do trade Robert, you don't see a big drop off as far as speed. You don't see a big drop off as far as defense. The bat will be, but actually his WRC plus is like 20% higher. So you just take what you can get at this point, because if you don't, then you're just declining the option and you get nothing. And look, think of the whole story here of Luis Robert in Chicago. I won't belabor this point, but we're all human beings. I understand that he's making millions of dollars and we don't, but he is still human. He's lost 280 games. He's played for 6 different coaches, if you include Grady Sizemore and Miguel Quero, and all of the dysfunction. Someone got shot in the freaking stadium. Okay? Like, that takes its toll mentally. I can't imagine showing up to work every day is fun or something you want to do. He needs a fresh start. The White Sox need to move on. I know there isn't like a direct replacement in the system. I know they're trying to shoehorn Baldwin into center field, but it's time.
I agree with you. And honestly, it feels exactly like the Michael Kopech situation. I don't want to watch this person play anymore. I know they're much better than what they've given us. I know the second they get out of Chicago that they're going to be a much better baseball player, and I'm going to be upset at the return they get, just like I was for Fetty. I mean, Vargas has been fun, right? But I still gave that a B- because Michael Kopech should have been respected like the closer that he was for the 2024 Dodgers. We all knew that type of player was in there. I don't know. It just feels very similar to that. We do have to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox postgame show. BZ, if you can stick around for a second, I got a couple more questions. I got like 5 more minutes of your time?
You can have at least that, Sean.
Amazing. All right. BZ, sit tight. We're going to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast presented by Bet365. We want to let you know about our friends over at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, a judgment-free home where you could shop for all types of cannabis. If you're a newbie, their expert bud tenders are kind and will take care of you and will help you decide what would be best for you. If you're an expert, they have over 100 strains, and they're Illinois' favorite dispensary for a reason, mainly because they're all across this beautiful land, all the way up to South Beloit in our nation's capital, not our nation's, our state's capital, Champaign. Am I right even? No, it's Springfield. Cool. They also have places in the city, like River North, Wrigleyville. I like the one in Elmwood Park. I'll try to figure out the geography of Illinois as well. Visit Sunnyside.shop for Bright Buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright Buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Four Seasons. If you haven't fixed your air, it's probably too late. It's been over 80 for a whole month at this point. You're probably baking in your home if you haven't fixed your AC yet. If you haven't, you should call our friends over at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Maybe you have an AC, but maybe it just broke on you. The people over at Four Seasons can help you out. Now is the time to get your air conditioning checked out, and Four Seasons experts are ready to help you with AC installation, maintenance, and repair. 2024 was officially Chicago's hottest year on record. There is no doubt that 2025 is going to beat that just on vibes. Just on how I feel, we're screwed. Plumbing, electrical, heating, or cooling emergency, need a new hot water tank or generator, call Four Seasons with same-day installation and no extra charge for night, weekends, or holidays. Call 866-4SEASONS. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. We are back here on the CHGO White Sox post-game podcast presented by Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Hello, BZ, Beznik Zekiri of Sox on Tap. We got about 5 more minutes here with BZ. Let's go to 13 Doveman, just because this is probably a typical White Sox content / blogger question. Are you going to trade Shane Smith? And Doveman also says, what can we get back from housing in Shane Smith? I think he means Hauser. The one thing that kind of annoys me, I don't know how you feel, people do treat Major League Baseball like it's MLB The Show. So it's like, oh, if you package people, we can get so much more. I think the White Sox are better off with every one of these players, unless it's like a bullpen piece where someone's interested in Steven Wilson and Hauser. It should be all kept separate. I don't think they're dealing Shane Smith, but what do you think? I mean, if someone comes knocking for Robert and Hauser, does that help you, or do you want to deal Hauser separate?
If it increases the package, then yeah, absolutely. You can package these guys up and ship them out. I think that's a good idea, but we never know what these deals are or how they come together. We can only speculate. With Shane Smith, I mean, someone comes knocking for him, it better be a pretty darn good offer, because you're looking at a potential middle of the rotation piece moving forward. I think he could be a solid number 3 starter, and he's got 5 years of control. He doesn't have any major league service time. So I don't see that. Now, I've been going back and forth on Hauser on the other hand. And I think maybe this is a hot take, maybe not. If it is, it's genuine. Maybe you offer him a 2-year deal for cheap with a 3rd-year option and see what you have here. Because maybe, see, this is the hard part, because you don't know what deals are out there. You don't know what's being offered. If the deals aren't what you want for this guy, then consider keeping him. Consider keeping this guy who can, maybe he's not a potential long-term piece, but maybe if you lock him up for 2 years and another option year, maybe he has more value in the offseason. Maybe he has more value next year to trade him. So that's kind of where my head is at. You're not getting a top 100 guy for him. That's definitely not happening. No one's giving up a top 100 guy for Adrian Hauser. But you can potentially get, maybe a organization's 7th to 10th best prospect. Mileage varies depending on the strength of the farm system.
You can get a Samuel Zavala. I had to really go back into the files to pick that one.
William Bergoya, maybe.
He was a little outside too, wasn't he? I think he was like 15th or something. Anyways,
he might have been like 12th.
I think the Hauser deal is interesting. I mean, what do you think about just dealing them and just being aggressive in free agency? Because they're not going to spend. They're able to get Robert off. I mean, that's $20 million right there. I mean, they beat out the Mets on paying Eric Fetty. I mean, maybe that's just a guy that they go after with Hauser because he's changed his diet. So you'd think that this could be replicable for him now that he's lean and mean. But anyways, the other thing I want to talk about, I don't know how it's taken us 20 minutes. Colson Montgomery's made his debut. What'd you think?
I mean, is there anything not to like? I mean, he had 2 hits today. He knocked in a run. He tripled off the wall, just barely missed a homer in Coors. I mean, I think that Coors Field, he got a little Coors Field carry on that triple, but hey, we'll take it. We'll take it. I love that they called him up for this series because it gave him a soft landing here because it's a great hitting environment. And I think, you've got the 05 weekend coming up, so it adds to the good vibes of the whole thing. But the eyeball test, I haven't looked at any defensive metrics or anything, but he looks like a shortstop. He's firing the ball over to first. He's turning 2. He looks every bit the part.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the thing that impressed me the most was the smoothness. The most awkward thing was the web gem that he does end up making in left field. But hey, I mean, even the ability to just flail your body out like that and make that catch. One of the diehard Discord members was bashing me because they said, you don't think this guy's a shortstop? Look at his arm. I think the issue was more the fact that his back was acting up, and we haven't seen that this year. I think that's the most exciting thing about this is that he's hitting fastball velocity. Shriffen went in a little bit more depth on what they did at Arizona, had him stand on a pad that showed how he was displacing weight, and then adjusted his stance to then better displace that weight. And now when he is able to be in that stance, find that rhythm, it does feel like he's able to lace velocity. Goes up against Dolander today, laces a single into right field. If he's staying healthy, maybe he's able to stay at shortstop for 2 years or so. Because I think that they'll want to see this experiment out until they have a true replacement. Jacob Gonzalez can be that, but you'd rather see Colson Montgomery than Jacob Gonzalez, I think. Gonzalez seems like he'd be able to play second base, third base, whatever. Not even similar to Mydroth because Mydroth doesn't have the arm. Anyways, it just feels like this is going to be their project for the entirety of 2025. At least seeing these first 3 games, I don't think he can embarrass himself enough at shortstop to be bench him and let's see Chase more at shortstop.
No, not at all. I think he looked like a shortstop. I think Chase is probably destined for second base in his career. Maybe Colson moves over to third. It looks like he's athletic enough to do that. Jacob Gonzalez has also been playing a lot of second base, but he can play shortstop and third too. So it's cool that they've got these middle infielders that are athletic enough to be able to play multiple positions and just kind of plug these guys in where they fit. And then Kyle Teel, who everybody is really upset about the fact that him and Quero are not in the lineup together, has some experience in left field. So I like this positional flexibility that they have, at least potentially. Teel has played some left field in college and in high school. So, there's the ability there.
There is the ability, but I wonder their actual chutzpah to try that out. I don't see Teel or Quero playing any position besides catcher, at least in 2025. Do you feel like it's just going to be them and then maybe some spots at DH when they see fit? I don't see Quero or Teel picking up a first base glove.
No, I don't see either of them picking up a first base glove. Neither of them have played first base at any level in their careers. That is an off-season project to start learning first base if they want them to. Then you do that in Arizona, and you go from there. That's not something you're going to throw them into in the middle of a major league season, especially rookies who are still honing their skills behind the dish and learning how to hit major league pitching. So throwing another thing on their plate there isn't a good idea. Teel does have some experience there in college. I don't know that he played much there in the minors, but maybe he gets a few starts there in left field to get him in the lineup a little bit more. But we've got a bunch of veterans that they still have to trade and make room for that. particularly Talkman. I'm like 100% certain he's traded. He's got to be like their best trade piece at this moment. So he started 5 of the last 10 games at DH, and those are at bats that could be going to one of the catchers. So that's where you're going to primarily see these guys for the rest of the year. Plenty of time for them to get more at bats.
What's tired is Chase Mydroth at second base. What's wired is Jacob Gonzalez. What's truly inspired is Kyle Teel at second base. That's what we need to see. This is new. The new.
Or you mean left field?
No, I think he played second base like one game at Virginia. So no, let's
Andrew
Vaughn this. Yeah. No, I'm just being.
They're calling up Andrew Vaughn. Did you see that?
No, they are.
The Brewers are they scratched him after like one at bat or something, and people are speculating that he's getting the call up.
Oh boy, hopefully they just are DFAing him. That'd be even a better twist. Do the White Sox play the Brewers this year? When's it coming up?
We already did play them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We did play 3 against them. I don't know if we have another 3.
That was when they were going to go above 500 in June. Anyways, there was something in there that you brought up. Oh, Talkman. When's this guy's quads given out? I mean, you bring up his hamstring and quads. I mean, I'm just waiting for him to like truly blow another tire.
Yeah, I mean, he's been to the IL twice. He started the season on the IL. That play limping home, running into the tag for the tying run against Cleveland, that was brutal. When you see him like tagging up from third a few games ago, it looks like he's running in dress shoes. Is the best way to describe it. So I'm like, they're playing this guy at DH half of the time just to keep him healthy. Hopefully none of the teams that are looking at trading for him notice. But it looks like, that hamstring or groin, I think it's a combination of both, is pretty bulky. And maybe he can't play, right field every single day, but you can move him around a little bit. And on a contender, he's probably a fourth outfielder, and a damn good one. Unless maybe you're the Padres, who have Gavin Sheets in the outfield, somewhat with some regularity. So I got to think they're moving him pretty soon here. And they should get something pretty decent in return. It's, you got to give Chris Getz some credit. These have been some pretty low key, nice pickups, not just Hauser and Smith, but you look at Michael Taylor's numbers, even Austin Slater's above 100 WRC plus in limited action. Talkman, Vassell, Isert has been a little bit better. He got Matt Theis for like $50,000 from the Cubs. So it's a low key good offseason. And hopefully he can parlay some of these guys into some decent returns.
Yeah, and I'm just honestly surprised it hasn't turned into more wins. If they, again, I know that you've been more of the seer on what their true record will be, but I guess they feel just a little bit better than what has even been out on the field, and it just feels like July and August and September might be a little bit tougher to them because the young kids will be more at the forefront. All right, BZ, you are fantastic. The editor over at Sox on Tap. Make sure you go follow him. Bez Beyond the Pen. Fantastic follow. Fantastic writer as well. Appreciate it, BZ, for the time.
Thanks, Sean. Have a good one.
You too, buddy. On the holiday weekend. What a mensch for joining us. I don't know why I'm using all these words. I didn't grow up Jewish. I should not be using mensch and chutzpah as much as I have on this show. Shalom. Anyways, hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you're following us at CHGO_sports. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. And make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Joey, I was just about to ask, is it time to take a break?
Yeah, we're getting close, man. Let's take a break.
Let's take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast presented by Bet365. Use code CHGO365. Sign up. For 27 years of my life, I've been listening to my mother talk about how high her property taxes are here in Cook County, and she's been thrilled with me letting her know about Ownwell. Overpaying for property taxes is something far too many Cook County residents are doing, like my mother, and you don't have to be one of them. In Cook County, appeal windows vary by township. They close up rapidly and are very difficult to win. You can let Ownwell's experts ensure you're prepared for when it counts. You can sign up in under 3 minutes, and their team of local experts and cutting-edge technology can start saving you money with no upfront cost. Ownwell is fantastic. They have, on an average, saved people $1,102, and 86% of Ownwell's customers receive a reduction. Put property tax money back into your pocket in just minutes with no stress and no big-time investments. There's no upfront costs, savings, or fee guarantees. Only pay if you save. Save money on your Cook County property taxes with Ownwell. Save up in less than 3 minutes and start your appeal today at ownwell.com. That's OWNWELL.com. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Circa Sports. I am very jealous. My friend Marty just won an all-expense paid trip to Circa Sports Resort in Las Vegas. He gets to experience the sports book in real life, in its all glorious Technicolor LED TVs. You can have that sports book the palm of your hand, at your phone, whatever the sport. The app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports is sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. The people that run the beautiful Circa Resort in Las Vegas run this sports book. So if you have a problem, an actual human will help you. You can bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season, whether it's spreads, props, futures, or in-game wagering. Circa Sports has it all. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back here on the CHGO White Sox podcast, presented to you by Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. We still have to talk about Colson Montgomery on this show. If you have any thoughts, let us know in the chat. Appreciate Doveman joining us. Appreciate Sydney's joining us. Appreciate Mr. Strick joining us. He's saying LOL at my inability to know the state capital. And we appreciate BZ, Besby on the Pen from Sox on Tap, from joining us. Fantastic follow. Make sure you're checking out Sox on Tap if you haven't. I'm going to keep the Bobby Jenks stuff for last, because if I do it now, I feel like I'll cry. And we're trying to avoid that completely. Tony saying, would like to see Grant Taylor as an opener a bit more as well. 13 Doveman also saying, give me Sean Burke and Grant Taylor. Sell high on Shane Smith and Eric H. I believe you mean Adrian H, but we'll let it pass. The Grant Taylor thing was interesting. We haven't done a show since Wednesday. Tuesday.
A lot of time in the sun this weekend, Sean?
We did, boy. Last show we did was on Tuesday, so we didn't cover the Wednesday and Thursday, or Wednesday fiasco in L.A., where they tried to let Grant Taylor go for 2 innings against the Dodgers to try to get that save.
Not on board with that, Sean.
You?
I was not.
All right, pontificate, kid.
Well, I mean, what do you mean? I think he got put in a bad situation. And to bring him out there for that second inning.
Isn't a bad situation just being on the 2025 White Sox? Like, that's what people, like, yeah. What you're trying to be in positions to win. Who is the best pitcher in the White Sox bullpen?
It's Grant Taylor.
That's the guy I want to see.
Dan Altavilla.
Period.
Was taking a run for the money. Not today.
I don't need to see Dan Altavilla. I don't need to see Brandon Eisert. I don't want Cam Boozer. I don't want them on a train, plane, or automobile, or whatever the Dr. Seuss is thing. Like, Grant Taylor should get experience against the best of the best in a high leverage situation. If he loses, who cares? Who cares? Who cares? There's probably, I mean, how many games did Vinny Capra and Jake Amaya cost the 2025 White Sox? We can't put that into actual words. Like, Grant Taylor had an iffy game trying to learn how to pitch out of the bullpen in 2-inning spurts. Like, this is his first time pitching out of the bullpen. Like, let's give the kid a break. The White Sox lost OL. Did you think they'd win against the Dodgers? Like, I honestly think, and I'm not bashing you, but I do think, even with this, like, the Mike Vassell thing is, like, you're trying to prove how smart of a baseball mind you are. Like the White Sox suck. The White Sox are trying to win, but at the end of the day, it is more about development than winning. It is more about Grant Taylor getting prime opportunities to throw pitches than Steven Wilson.
Oh, that's very fair.
I'd rather see Grant Taylor face Mookie than Steven Wilson.
Yeah, I guess my pushback is, it depends on what exactly do you still think that there's a world where Grant Taylor is a starter?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think there.
I just don't know why we need to see two inning.
Why
we need to see 2 inning stretches from him right now. I want to see clean innings, which didn't happen.
But why do you want to see clean innings? He's not. That's the thing. They're just trying to get him outings. That is how you need to see this. They are not trying to. Ooh, that's the worst. That word has had a terrible run over the past 10 years. That word did not have that same meaning.
Which word?
Begins with a G. Oh. And we are currently in a room. Like, they're trying to mold this arm. And I don't think that the results matter. What they are trying to do is prevent Grant Taylor from getting injured. they feel the best way of Grant Taylor not getting injured is pitching out of the bullpen. They think Grant Taylor can, in a perfect world, throw like 5 innings probably in a start. But when things go rough, you have guys on a bases loaded, et cetera, et cetera. He gets overworked in like the second inning. Maybe then it's time to pull them. What they get the ability to do with Grant Taylor in the bullpen is truly fine-tune Grant Taylor as he goes. He had a clean inning. He didn't overwork himself. He's fine to pitch. His arm's already going. It's kind of like getting an old car started. You don't want to turn the car off, I guess. Like, they are just trying to get through this season with Grant Taylor. And if he blows a save to the Dodgers, oh well. If it's not a clean inning, oh well. It's more about him being able to have a clean offseason, be able to be on the spring training roster, and make it to opening day. And I think that on opening day, 2026, since he's already on the team, I think you could see him, as Tony Perkis says, would like to see Grant Taylor as an opener a bit as well. I think you could see maybe, because I don't think they should abandon the starting pitcher thing. What if he was a starter and only threw 3 innings? Go through the order once. And once you do that, we're good. Because that, at max, should be like 45 to 65 pitches.
I guess that's where my curiosity is, right? And you are making a very good point, especially about with the All-Star break coming up. I just want Grant Taylor healthy. I think that's like in the back of my mind. I'm almost like a helicopter mom with Grant Taylor because I want him to stay on the White Sox for as long as possible, which means that he stays healthy. And I am curious to see, you threw 28 pitches in that outing. I would be curious to see if they try and get him maybe in the 30s once or twice at some point the rest of this season.
The 30s of what?
Pitch count in a game.
Well, didn't they do that? I think that's what they've been pretty much getting to.
Use a 20
says don't mind Taylor getting innings, just sticking to opening or closing. 6 inning outs can cause setbacks. Again, it's not even about like the outs. It's not about looking at him as a bullpen or a closer or getting saves. It's more about Grant Taylor throwing 30 pitches. He's thrown 30 pitches in 2 outings against the Giants and against the Rangers. I think those are good things to see. He ends up throwing 28 in the Dodger game we're talking about. And then the next day comes out, or next game, but the next game on the 4th, comes out 1 inning, 17 pitches, 2 strikeouts. Like, I don't think that it's just more about keeping this guy up and going. It's more about a workout. They are just really having Grant Taylor work out in Major League Baseball games right now. And he's really good at working out.
Yeah, and at 3 innings, what would you say 3 innings would be? Roughly 35, 45 pitches?
Well, again, it depends on how effective he is. Because they had the game on the 19th where he throws 6 pitches against St. Louis. He goes out the next day and throws 13. So I think that, I think it's more how he feels on a day-to-day basis. Like, I don't even think this is like a week-to-week thing with Grant Taylor. It's, hey, kid, how you feel? He didn't pitch on the 5th or 6th. So I think maybe, after seeing 31 pitches on the 28th, 28 pitches on the 2nd, 17 on the 4th, they're probably like, all right, well, let's give him a break here.
Well, and the All-Star break's right around the corner. It's a perfect time to maybe push him a little bit. Because you'll get a chance to kind of like cycle off of him and then bring him back. So if you want to see what that looked like.
But I guess if they were going to push him, they would have thrown him yesterday or today, is I guess my point.
Well, he would have thrown today for the sweep if the Sox had a lead or were competitive in the last 3 or 4 innings.
And maybe he would have.
Yeah.
But, we just didn't see that happen. I mean, also, again, it's the Rockies throw him. I don't care. You'll see if he can get through him at 9 pitches. I don't care. Again, it's about him working out. It's not about Grant Taylor proving anything. Grant Taylor is the best arm on the Chicago White Sox right now. And it's more about just trying to have him reach his max potential.
Not to derail,
we'll see how that happens.
Better arm talent, Grant Taylor or Michael Kopech? Arm talent.
Arm talent. I think it's Kopech. Kopech has a better arm and a better base. Taylor is freakier because Taylor's 6'3" and has like 7'3" extension. I would say Kopech because the thing about Taylor, I think he'll break down. Kopech's going to be pitching until he's like 40. Anyways, let's talk about Bobby Jenks because I believe there's about 5 minutes left, and I think that should get my thoughts out appropriately. I will do my best to remember Bobby Jenks. If you have any thoughts, feel free to share them with us in the comments. This isn't the most surprising outcome. Bobby Jenks passes away at 44 years old. We found out about his stomach cancer in March when the news came out that he was in Spain receiving treatment. It was revealed that it was stage 4 and that it would be a very, very tough battle for him. So this news isn't surprising, but it is extremely, extremely sad. It's mainly amplified. The sadness is amplified by the fact that they, in about 11 days, will welcome the Guardians to celebrate the 2005 team for their 20-year anniversary. So it is a little deflating that, and not saying that this is anything against Bobby. If he was able to hold on 7 more days, he might have been able to see his team get celebrated. So it's just more of a shame and just a sadness for him that he wasn't able to see that. Danny Parkins and Scott Merkin both shared that they talked to him recently and that he was in great spirits. And that seems to be the biggest resounding thing from his teammates, Ozzie, his manager, that Bobby Jenks was just a really great person that loved baseball. And that's why you see him managing the Windy City Thunderbolts, being a part of the White Sox organization, and managing the rookie and some Arizona teams. Jake Sudreth, one of his former players, said Bobby was an unbelievable manager. Our team would have run through a brick wall for Bobby. I've never seen a manager instill so much confidence in a team that he would be willing to pick the batting order out of a hat, made the game fun and serious when it had to be. It just seems like he was such a jovial person, and you could see it radiate in his smile. And Bobby is a bigger-than-life person, was probably the best character on that entire 2005 team. The fact that the manager could come out and pantomime, give me the big dude, that is just a picture worth 1,000 words right there. You have all the accomplishments. There have been 11 postseason saves in Chicago White Sox history. 5 have been by Bobby Jenks. 6 others by 6 other people. He has done what is taken, 6 people entirely to do in a 125-year history. He's second all-time behind Bobby Thigpen in total saves. He is one of 4 White Sox to record 100-plus saves in a White Sox uniform. Thigpen at 201, Jenks at 173, Roberto Hernandez at 161, Keith Folk at 100. Honestly, Holt Wilhelm, I apologize. You're at 99. I'll give a shout-out to Holt Wilhelm as well. But Bobby, in a somewhat poetic way, we find out about his death on July 5th, 2025. His major league debut was July 5th, 2005. Yeah. Or at least he was called up. That's what it says on Wikipedia, was that he was called up to the majors on July 5th, 2005. He made his debut on July 6th. So he got that news on July 5th. So a 20-year gap from like, hey, kid, you made it to the show, to the end of his life. But, I mean, that's just 20 years right there of a fantastic baseball life. Bobby, when you're growing up, you're always emulating what you see on TV, your heroes. And for an entire 4-year stretch of when I was playing baseball with my friends, anytime you were about to throw a baseball hard, you'd say Bobby Jenks, and you'd say it very loudly, right? Like, that was the person that you were trying to channel and embody. And he took over the South Side from 2005 to 2008, had that phenomenal run in 2007 in the summer where he retired 41 consecutive batters. He just consistently delivered. And I went back to the ALDS Game 3 against the Rays in 2008, the Rays who end up going to the World Series as the American League pennant winner. And in Game 3 against Carlos Pena with 2 outs, B.J. Upton on first. I guess his name was B.J. Upton then. I don't need to correct that. He goes up against Carlos Pena, and it's 1-2-3. 3 pitches, 3 strikes. Pena's caught looking at a curveball, and it's just like there's no other dude you'd rather have on the mound in that moment. And that dude created so many memories for me, and I know for all of you White Sox fans. And the fact that his 41 consecutive batters retired streak was then broken by his teammate Mark Burley, 2 years later with the 46 in a row at the Metrodome. That was also just I'm glad those two could celebrate their ring and that together. And Bobby's just a great testament of the human spirit. I mean, this guy didn't have the best conditioning because he battled with alcoholism for the early part of his life, and he's just a true testament that if you do have setbacks, that will not define you. And if you can push through, you can do some really great things in your life. And Bobby Jenks did some great things in his life.
Sean, I own currently 5 White Sox jerseys or jerseys. I own a Burley. I own a Quero. I own a Frank Thomas. I own a Ken Griffey Jr., and I own a Bobby Jenks.
Hell yeah.
And I will tell you, the Bobby Jenks is faded gray because I wore that shirt almost every single time I went to Sox Park. And the other thing that I think about with Bobby Jenks is if you go back to 2005, one of the weird underlying aspects of that season was these weird, iconic Catalyst songs. There was a musical soundtrack to that season. Obviously, Thunderstruck was a huge thing when they'd walk out. There was always Don't Stop Believin' from AJ, Joe Creedy, and the boys running around town. And then there was POD's Here Comes the Boom, man. And that was ours. And honestly, I'll run that entrance up with Edwin Diaz or anybody else, Mariano Rivera. That dude was ours. He looked like he carried gravel or cement off a pickup truck, or some dude that would pick up your kids from a soccer practice or something like that. That dude was as Chicago as it gets. And you bring up a great point too as well, where his life was definitely not on the right track. And it isn't just enough to be talented. It's something else for him to make the choice and then get the opportunity and run with it. And that's what Bobby did. And, he's one of the most iconic closers in Chicago baseball history.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he's the guy.
Yeah, I mean,
he plays the part.
Our generation. I know Bobby Thigpen's that dude as well. I mean, he ended up, 57 saves. So
it was a good year.
I think, Thigpen versus Jenks is a really good debate.
That's the what if bar argument. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's, those two guys are legends. And now I'm interested. Hold on.
What are you looking up?
On the show. How many Cubs leaders in saves?
Oh, dude, the Cubs don't have closers
at all.
Lee Smith is up there. Randy Myers is up there. But honestly, they never had guys
up there. But they were all
they never had guys that stuck around for 3 or 4 or 5 years. Bobby Jenks had 5 seasons of at least 25 plus saves, 2 back-to-back 40 save seasons. You just don't see that in this town, man.
Yeah, Lee Smith 180, Jenks is at 179. So you're probably, if you're ranking greatest closers in Chicago history, top 3.
Who do you want? 2005, Bobby Jenks in the 9th inning. In the whole what if, put anybody in any place, I'm taking.
Well, that's the thing is my lifespan is I don't even know what Bobby Thigpen was like.
Right,
I can only hear that stories. I lived Bobby Jenks. That's my ride or die.
Yes.
I don't care who the other dude is. I'll take the guy that's the John Daly of closers. Let's effing go.
POD plays, and we're all banging and having a great time.
Yeah, hey, I mean, I when I'm 8 years old, right, in 2005. I'm watching a ton of WWE. Rey Mysterio is my favorite wrestler. Bobby Jenks comes out to POD. I was a huge POD head. Let's just be honest,
Yeah.
Anyways, we end the show.
I mean, if you want to, man. I mean, I love talking about that 05 team, and I love talking Bobby Jenks, man. Rest in peace.
Yeah. And
rest easy.
Husky Bardo says, "Stop yelling at me, Shane. No more rides. Okay, buddy? No more rides. Ha. You can call an Uber." Show's presented by Bet365. Use code CHGO365. When you sign up, we'll see you on Monday for the post game between the White Sox and the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks? No, they played the Diamondbacks already. We'll see you when the White Sox welcome the
Toronto Blue Jays.
It's 6:40 tomorrow. We'll see you for a post game then here on the CHGO Sports YouTube channel.
We all silly like the mayor.